Hi, and welcome back to the program. 75 miles west of Las Vegas is the small country town of Parumph, Nevada. That's where we're going to start our adventure today. Directly behind me, you'll see the Wheeler Pass Trail. From 1826 to 1861, this is one of the main thoroughfares that led out of Las Vegas into Death Valley, where the settlers were originally heading towards the gold fields of California. But today our journey takes us a little south of that to a real hidden gem called Wheeler Canyon. Let's not talk about it, let's just go see it. Come on, let's ride! Let's ride! Let's ride! Let's ride! Let's ride! On today's episode of Let's Ride, we're going to be visiting Wallace Canyon. 75 miles southwest of Las Vegas, Nevada, lies the Wheeler Pass Trail. From 1821 to 1873, it was one of the primary routes used by the settlers crossing over into Death Valley before heading to the gold fields of California. Our adventure today takes us just a little south of that to Wallace Canyon. Let's not talk about it, let's just ride. Come on, let's ride! As the day breaks over Wallace Canyon, you can feel the humidity coming off the desert. Last night was a magnificent thunderstorm. Today, you can barely see that it was here. I've been lucky so far. I've been able to keep my feet on the pegs, but I'm not sure how much longer that's going to last. Well, we've stopped and taken another break here. This is just spectacular. Straight drop as far as you can see. Again, just spectacular. As we were riding through the canyon, I caught the glimpse of something off to my left-hand side, and I'm glad I stopped and looked. This is a little hidden mini canyon, and at the very back is one of the most interesting features of Wallace Canyon. Just have a look. Riding so far has been extremely technical. Deep gravel, lots of rocks, cactuses, an occasional Joshua tree thrown in just for a little terror there. We've stopped now to have a look at this. This is some really interesting stuff. The striations, you can see they're like layers of it. It's been laid down from an inland sea from millions of years ago. And you can see the upheaval and the thrusting of the stone as it's been pushed above the ground. This has been caused by the continental plates from the North American plate being abducted, in other words, raised above the incoming Pacific plate, and that has raised up a chain of mountains across Nevada here, primarily Mount Charleston, which we're on at the moment. In geological terms, if you look at each one of these layers has been laid down from sediment from millions and millions and millions of years ago. So each line represents a time period of sediment. If we go ahead and open up the pages of the book of geology, we can actually read this. And what we're seeing here are several different layers. You can see this sandier layer followed by a dark layer. The sandier layer comes from ancient sand dunes that were once here millions of years ago that were covered from a pyroclastic volcano out of Utah approximately 2.5 million years ago. That volcano spewed a lot of mud. That mud came down into this area of Nevada and encompassed and covered everything and pressed it into sandstone. That's what some of the things we see here in Wallace Canyon today. With only a few minor scratches and scrapes, we've able to make it to the first stop. As we come out of the hidden canyon, we're greeted by magnificent striations of a wall that is almost straight up. Look at this. Come on, let's see what else is down the canyon. Let's ride. Hidden Canyon is turning out to be a magnificent find. Jump on, come on, let's ride! The tension is a little high as I make it down this part of the canyon. There's cactuses everywhere sticking out. The traction is almost impossible. I can't explain to you just how treacherous this really looks. This is a straight down drop. Luckily enough, the eons have left us a few natural footholds here, and I'm able to work my way down a bit. As we descend into Wallace Canyon, the road looks pretty good, but I may have spoken too soon. Immediately, we're right in the middle of an ancient riverbed. Large stones, small stones, pea gravel, and on top of that, there's every kind of cactus known to man growing in here. This is truly turning out to be an adventure. The passage, we're greeted by another spectacular sight. Canyon walls going straight up 100 feet on both sides. Just spectacular. As we ride, the walls of the canyon are sloping higher and higher. This isn't looking good. As we get to the end here, it's a box canyon, just what I feared. But wait, what's this off to the right? Let's explore. I saw this really interesting rock feature here, and you can see from the geology it looks to be like one layer on top of the other. As we go through Wallace Canyon, you'll see a lot of this layered effect, and that's because originally this was an ancient ocean bed millions of years ago, being laid down one layer at a time from sediment. About 2.5 million years ago, Mount Charleston started to make its way up out of the ocean because of the subduction of the Pacific continental plate underneath the North American continental plate. It raised up the North American continental plate, and that is why we see these great geological outcrops throughout Wallace Canyon. In this section of the ride, it's almost speechless. High canyon walls on both sides, just amazing colors. I'm not going to do much talking here. I'm just going to let you go ahead and watch. Now we come to the true gem here at Wallace Canyon. It's a hidden canyon with a crest on the inside where you can actually pass through into another open canyon. So what looks to be a box canyon really isn't. Let's explore. Amazingly enough, there is a passage at the end of the box canyon. But let's stop and have a good look and explore. I told you Wallace Canyon was full of hidden treasures, and here's one of them. Look at this passage. From a box canyon, it leads through, just wide enough for a motorcycle to pass. Walls inside the passage are worn smooth. It looks like millions of years worth of water must have passed through here to carve this out. Fortunately enough for us, it's wide enough for a motorcycle to pass through, so we're going to keep going. Come on, let's ride! Here we are having a really good look at how smooth the surface of the stone is here. When the glacier melt came through here approximately 20,000 years ago, these mountains had already been here for eons, tens of hundreds of thousands of years. But the glaciers that came through here 20,000 years ago put out a lot of water. And that water ran right through this valley, first in the form of ice, and then as global warming happened a bit, we were able to go ahead and bring that ice back into water form again. And you can see here on the walls, it's just smooth everywhere. You can see where the water has really cut a groove right down deep into the rock, all the way up to the very top up there. And if I look from here and I look straight up, the rocks are jagged. They're stony still. So the water that came through here was probably, originally probably really deep, but at the end, not so deep at all, and ran for, it looks like a very long time at that lower speeds. I think we see that throughout the canyon where the gravel is small and then it gets larger and larger and eventually it gets to the size of the mountains here. But we can see a lot of that runoff from the glaciers and from the titanic uplifting that originally was caused when the canyon was originally formed. Okay, I've been able to make my way up through the waterfall. So if I just kind of carefully make my way, you can have a good look down below there. And you can see quite a bit. Let me move my way down just a little here. And now you can really see the waterfall. As I get my camera right down on it, you can have a look and see how smooth the walls are. Yeah, and how far the water must have really traveled. Let's have another look. I'll go ahead and turn around here. We'll have a better look inside the waterfall. Have a look at that. How's that? Amazing. We'll slowly make our way through. Just have a good look at the grandeur, the different colors. And then again, look at the textures here on the right side. Here again, just really great colors. Look at the swirls there in the rock. Look at this. I don't know what that's from. But you can see quartz shot through the sedimentary rock. Just imagine the force of the water that actually took to carve its way through here over the eons. I'm going to see if I can make my way up this part of the waterfall. Have a look. You can see where the water's actually grooved its way through. Okay, might get a bit shaky here. I'm going to try to walk up it. Okay, there we go. So I was actually able to make my way up the old waterfall there. As we make our way around the corner, yet another small waterfall and some more excellent texture of the rocks. Look at this. Layered and kind of pillowy too at the same time. Yeah, let's get up. Yeah. And then again, another waterfall here. I don't know if I'll be able to make it up that one. I'm going to try. Okay, well, I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'm going to try to make it up that waterfall without crashing and burning. It's nothing to really hold on to. Okay. There we go. Oh. Okay, there we go. All right. Keep working our way up through here. I'm having a look now at where the waterfall is. It's just smooth. I mean, there's been millions of years worth of water. And if you really have a good, strong look at this, you can actually see where the different water level flows were at. Higher up, you can see there was a lot of water passing, but only for a short period of time. And then it looks like there was a medium amount of water passing for a very, very, very long part of time. And then you can see that the water has decreased. It's very narrow at this point, and now it's to the point where if you look at it, the narrowness is no more than just an inch or two wide, showing me that in the past history, not so long ago, water from this area stopped flowing. As we make our way out the Wallace Canyon, there's one stop that I always love to do. I call this one the Gold Miner. It's a place where, again, lots of water has rushed through. It's rubbed things really, really smooth, the rock, but it looks at one time like there was a pool underneath the waterfall. If there was ever a great place to find gold, I think now is time to pull out our trusty metal detector, give it a few sweeps and a few beeps, and let's see what we can find. Okay, so I'm working my way around with the metal detector, and I actually got a strike in this area right here. I don't know what's there. I'll confirm it one more time with the metal detector. Okay, it's there, whatever it is. It's metal, and I'm going to dig it up. Found it. Here it is. Wow. It is an old Budweiser aluminum can. Okay, so we'll put the discriminator mode on now that we know that we've got a few of these wild cans in the area, and that'll discriminate against them, and we'll pick up targets like gold. So let's go ahead and discriminate right now. Okay, we've worked this area over pretty well, and I think we're going to go ahead and move up the falls a little bit there, and maybe try to metal detect an area where possibly other people just haven't been. So we'll meet you up there. Well, so much for metal detecting here. We'll just have to try that again on a different episode. Okay, and our next stop is, well, let's not talk about it. Let's just do it. Let's ride! Okay, we've gone ahead and stopped off the motorcycle again, and I want to point out, look at these amazing geological features here. If you have a really strong look, you can see the layer after layer after layer. This has been laid down from an ancient ocean seabed millions and millions of years ago. A couple of million years ago, the Pacific continental plate pushed its way underneath the North American continental plate and lifted up this entire area. The oceans washed away, and what was left was Wallace Canyon. A magnificent place. Let's go explore some more. Come on, let's ride. The three primary types rocks found out here in Wallace Canyon are carbonate rocks, which are limestone and dolomite. The carbonate rocks were formulated in horizontal layers at the bottom of an ancient sea some 600 to 250 million years ago. As the particles of matters in the water column rained down, it built up in layers that eventually solidified. These particles of matter were mostly plankton, precipitates, and were suspended in the sediments that were washed down from the rivers into the ocean, and similar types of debris. These different layers of the carbonate rock represented different environmental conditions as climate and water depths changed over time. Most of the mountains in the southern Nevada area, including those here on Spring Mountain and especially those here in Wallace Canyon, are composed of these carbonate rocks. There's also a bunch of sandstone that's located around here. The sandstone around Wallace Canyon and those sandstone cliffs that you can see on the side here are formed by grains of sand that were once part of a vast sand dunes that covered most of the southwestern United States about 160 million years ago. Over time, the wind has blown those grains and cemented them together, just like the conglomerate rock, to become a rock of its own. Okay, as we narrow our way down to the end of today's program, I'd like to send a couple of shout-outs. One to Michelin Tires. That's right, Michelin, the folks who make the tires that go on your car. Well, they also make an excellent enduro tire. Out in this environment, when I'm in the snow, the rocks, the sand, or just out in the deep forest, I get really good hookup power from my Michelin tire. Also on the road, a magnificent performance and longevity. Well, it's a Michelin. It speaks for itself. Okay, and since we're giving out shout-outs, I might as well give one out to Yamaha. Today I'm riding a XT 350cc motorcycle. It's both an on- and off-road enduro edition made by Yamaha, and this is a 1999. So you can see even the older stuff does a great job, just like me. And finally, a shout out to the Maestro. That's right, there's always somebody behind the scenes working the curtains. For this show, we'll just call him the Maestro. All the editing, all the music, all everything. He's just the Maestro. You ask him to play it, he can do it. Shout out to you, my friend. At the end of the day, I always like sitting next to the campfire, my bike, and looking up at the stars as the sun goes down. Out here in the Nevada deserts, it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is, it's always great stargazing out this way. So go out and enjoy the great outdoors. It's a freedom, it's yours. And until next time, let's ride. As the evening shadows work their way down from the 12,000 foot level of Mount Charleston, across the plains of the Parumph, Nevada wilderness, Wallace Canyon rests for another evening. The stars come out, the wild horses start to feed, you start hearing the owls and the bats, and then it's just serenity. Signing off tonight from Let's Ride, I've been your host, Rob Gainley. you.